Hi, and welcome back to Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, Pittman's Garden Patch. It's May 3rd, 2015, and I just want to show you, what's going on and talk to you about share with you some of my thoughts and whatnot, and what I see and what's going on in my garden and what's not, and a little bit of my future plans. So come join me and share your thoughts too. Well, here's a tomato plant that I grew in my garage over the winter time, and I really neglected it a lot. And but you can see it's a survivor. I really didn't water it a whole lot and everything, and yes, those are tomatoes ready to come off. And but the plant is, like I said, a survivor and everything, so I figured why not bring it outside. And then I gave it some liquid fertilizer and everything to freshen it up and everything. So let's see what happens. I still might pull it and whatnot, and because I may want to use this pot for something else, so we'll see. Alright, going on over here, here's another tomato plant that I grew in my garage. And you can see I didn't really take care of it very well, but lo and behold, it's surviving quite well. Now it's been outside for about close to a month, so and I've been harvesting little cherry-sized tomatoes off of here, even though this is not a cherry tomato plant. And I still have flower blossoms growing on this thing right there, and a couple of them up there and whatnot, but it's hanging on, and you can see a little baby tomato right there. So let's see what happens. I'm gonna take you in the backyard and share with you what's going on back here. Sorry for the bumpy ride. I said I'm just in a residential home, and there's the Great Wall of China. But it's a big old wall the city put up for the sound barrier and everything. They put it up there for the new road they put in. But anyways, in this bed and in that bed, I have onions growing. This is my first year of trying onions. I always think it's important that every year you try something different. You add a couple more different plants or so into your repertoire of gardening. I mean, it keeps it fresh. It keeps you, always learning new things and exploring things. And I think that's what part of gardening is about. I mean, if you grow the same old things year after year after year, then gardening, to me, kind of loses its pizzazz. It loses its little zip on things. That passion that keeps you going. So if you try new things every year, a couple little things here and there, then you always got something new to look at and learn and understand how it grows and what it does. And what grows best in your area, and taste and flavor, and maybe you might discover some new fruit or vegetable that, wow, you didn't know it was that good before. So try new things each year. If you're feeling like you have the garden blues and you're kind of tired of it, try something different. Okay, here's what happened with me with the onions. About a little over a month ago, I went to Home Depot and bought Granix Yellow, Texas Sweet, and Walla Walla onions. Bunches, okay? So I get all three. I bring them home. They sat around for about 4 or 5 days. When I got the beds ready and everything, came out here to plant them, when I unraveled the bunches, I didn't know which one was which. Even the label, the Bonnie label tag that was with it, did not say that this was Walla Walla or that was Granix Yellow. It didn't tell me. So I had no idea which is which. So I'll have to, when I harvest them, I'll have to compare them with some pictures online and get my best estimate as to what I think it is. Now I'm kind of sure that these smaller ones up here on this half, I divided this bed in half. Actually almost pretty much down the middle with the shade and the sun right now. But anywho, I can even smell the onions. Wow. That's the first time I smelled these, and I've been out here for over an hour this morning. I could smell that sweet onions. So anyway, sorry, getting a little hungry now. I believe this half, the one that's closest to me, is Walla Walla, I think. And the rest, I don't know. Now, the interesting thing, these Walla Wallas seem to be a little bit on the touchy side of things. I left them along with the other two varieties for like 4 days or so, 4 or 5 days, and didn't really do much with them. And when I was ready to plant them out, I noticed that most of these looked like this. No greenery. It lost all its green, and it was all dead looking. And while the other two varieties still had their greenery. Well, it's been over a month since, a little over a month since he's been in the ground, and the Walla Wallas finally seem to be slowly coming back. So we'll see. It's my fault that I didn't take care of them, but you can see about maybe 2 or 3 right up there didn't survive, and there's another one over here that didn't survive, and but the other ones seem to be finally putting on some greenery and everything, so we'll see. And you can see my other bed here, looking pretty good, so this is something new for me this year, this onions, and I got a couple other things new for me too. I want to show you these other plants over here. Now, some of these are going to my school's garden. Some of these were donations from a local community college, and but some of these are my plants, whether they're green beans, which I'm trying for the first time this year, and I have some squash and zucchini and things like that in here. And I want to show you one of the plants that I have. Is some ashitaba. Sorry about that, folks. Let me show you this ashitaba plant. I have about 4 of them now, and they're just babies, and these grow for about 2 years, and these are supposedly one of the most healthiest, nutritious plants on the earth. And these are extremely slow growing. I've been growing these since probably February, early February, and they just now have 2 leaves, and you can see one little baby leaf coming up there. Now these are starting to put on the leaves a little bit faster. It's got 2 leaves and now it's starting to grow a 3rd one. So these are very slow growing. I'm going to put these in pots, fabric pots, because what I'm going to do is, as they grow throughout the summer, like I said, these are 2-year plants before they go to seed. I'm going to put these in pots, so at the end of the season, I'm going to pull them into the garage under my grow light and keep them going in there. And that way I can still have ashitaba through the winter and whatnot, keep going. But these seeds came from John Kohler. Thank you, John. And I'm one of his many subscribers. And I ordered these from him. And like I said, I got about maybe 4 of the seeds to germinate. The other ones didn't really make it. But 4 plants are better than none, right? So, yeah, these are very unique plants. So, like I said, I have a few of these, about 3 or 4, and I'll see what happens with them. And I'm going to take real good care. I also have some longevity spinach that I ordered through the mail, and this is, let's see, oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Here it is right here. And what happened about these, I have 2 of these. These are also one of the most nutritious kind of plants. This is a spinach plant, excuse my English. And these have another name for them I can't even pronounce. I'm not even going to try to, because I'm going to really mess it up. But one of the names is longevity spinach. Anywho, when these plants came to me in the mail, they had been bent over. The main stem had been snapped, and the leaves were all dead and brown and just nasty looking. And I sent sent a picture and an email to the company saying, hey, letting them know what happened. And they sent me another one out with no question. And when that one arrived, it was the same way. The main stem had been snapped over, and so they just ended up giving me a refund. Well, here's what I did. I noticed down further close to the soil line, there were a couple little nodes in the crotch areas of a stem and leaf that had survived, that was below the main stem that got snapped and kinked over. And so I was like, well, if this works for peppers and tomatoes and other plants, where if you see a little node in the crotch area of the main stem and the leaf stem, then you can get that to grow. If you cut off the main stem, you prune the main stem off, you can force those side shoots, if you will, to start growing. And that's exactly what I did. I just pruned off the dead section, gave it water, put it in the southern facing window, and both my plants, as you can see, have survived. and have grown and flourished. Now I need to get these transplanted out, and I do need to double check to make sure these things love heat or don't, so that I don't put them in direct full sunlight all day long, because it's going to get pretty hot here not too long from now. So anyhow, just wanted to show you that. And looks like my pepper plants are slowly coming back to life, but I need to hurry up and get those things transplanted. I'm still waiting on a couple things to come in the mail from the Boogie Brew company, and I'll be doing a video with my Boogie Brew products, because we sort of have not exactly an agreement, but you know, I wanted to show them, you know, their products, that what I'm using from them, and you know, they want to see the results, kind of like a video testimony of the quality of their products. And let me tell you, they do make good products. They make excellent products, and they're not paying me to do anything. So I just want to let you know that. And look, there's little Luke in the window there. He comes knocking on the window. See, I'll zoom in on my little buddy. Good morning, Luke. He's probably wondering what I'm doing. So anyhow, this is one of my is that green beans? Maybe this is green bean. I think this might be green beans. Well, anyways, let's move on. Got lots of things to show. Let's see, what should I do? Well, let's go over here. Talk about this empty bed right here. And my little trellis. On that far row there, I'm going to plant something new this year, the cantaloupes. I think I said that in my last video. And I'm having a heck of a time getting them to grow and survive under the grow light and everything. So in the next week or so, I'm just going to directly sow these in the ground and see if I can't get better results that way. They're just not surviving, so I'm going to get the soil amended and then do that. And my squash and zucchini seem to be doing pretty good so far, and that's because they've been protected from those nasty bugs that like to eat them. And I'm going to put a row of zucchini and a row of squash through here, and I'm going to protect them with the tool material, and that's going to keep out 99% of the bugs that like to eat them. And the tool material will expand as the plants grow, so I'm not too worried about that. And when it gets to the flowering stage and all that, I will just remove that, and you know, or I'll come out and hand pollinate it myself and then cover it back up to keep the harmful bugs out of it. And I'll just let the cantaloupe grow up this trellis and everything. There's not much I can do for that, for as far as protecting those from the bugs that want to eat them, but I'll do what I can. I'll just try to keep a vigilant eye on them. I'm not a fan of cantaloupes myself. I love the smell, but I'm not a fan of the taste. But I figured maybe if I grow them myself, maybe I'll like them a little bit better than the grocery store. And some of my family members, of course, love them, so why not grow some for them too? Here are my tomato plants, as you can see. And I'll give a little bit closer view of those. Got a few tomatoes on each one of those. This is my 2 plants of oregano, which is really going crazy. I need to cut some of this back. And I used some of this about a week ago for my spaghetti sauce, and man, just about 4 or 5 sprigs of it, and just like, oh, made it so awesome. And I'm going to put in some cucumbers in here. Again, I'm not a fan of cucumbers so much, but my family likes it, so I figured why not grow some for them too. And there's lemon balm down there right on the edge. Let's see, right there, that's a lemon balm plant. And so I'm going to put in some cucumbers in here to grow up this trellis, and I'll tie the tomato plants onto the trellis. Let's get a closer look at some of these tomato plants. As you can see, most of these are Better Boy. But this one is my Amanda Orange. It's the only Amanda Orange plant that I have. It's the only one that actually germinated out of a whole pack of seeds. A lot of dew this morning. And I got some pretty good sized tomatoes already growing. So we'll see how that goes. Over here, these are some strawberry plants, and right now I have quite a few big leaves. I have a little bit of strawberries, but they haven't really kicked into high gear yet. Maybe, and these are Camarosas, most of these, and there's a couple All-Stars. I'm not too thrilled with the All-Star plants that I got from Home Depot. The ones that I got from a local farm when they had some leftovers at the end of the growing season last year, I transplanted them in late, but they survive, and you know, you can see the nice, beautiful strawberry flowers, which I come out and hand pollinate them. And all I do is just go in there and I rub them with my thumb, going around circular motions, nice and easy. Get the parts to touch each other, and then go to another flower and do the same. And that way I get pretty good germination. And you can see right here, strawberries starting to grow on there, and they're plumping up. And you know, these are pretty self-fertile, and they'll do their thing. So that's going on there. And now hopefully pretty soon I'll have some strawberries. My first year trying the Camarosas. And more strawberries right here in this bed. More Camarosas, like I said. I got a few on there growing, and I actually did eat a strawberry off one of the All-Stars. And you can see these All-Stars. Look how puny they are. Really just, they got 3 or 4 strawberries here, and you can see a couple of them just about ready to be picked. And yeah, I'm not too thrilled with those. Here's some pepper plants, 2 yellow bell pepper plants that are really not doing good at all. And I think my soil right now just is not as healthy as it should be, because these have been in here almost a month and they're really not showing much of anything. So I'm probably going to dig them up and either amend the soil, maybe replant them, or just get rid of them, because I have a few other pepper plants that will look healthier, and I'll get the soil amended and a little bit better than what I did when I get some of the Boogie Boo products in here and get this stuff going better. Let's see. Blackberries. Yes, blackberries. I have my row of blackberries, and you can see flower blossoms on them. Some of them are already a little bit more further along than others. You can see some of the pink, purplish color on the flowers on parts of the buds, but they'll turn white with a green inside. It's kind of cool. Let me see if I can give you a close-up of one of the what it looks like on the inside. You can see a little bit of the pinkish purple coloring on the flower buds. Let me show you. Right in there. I have a green, yellowish green center. And I have a lot of buds on these. And I just come out here and I hand pollinate these the same. I also use my electric toothbrush and I vibrate the heads and everything. So you just come around and rub it up a little bit like that, you know. Seems like there should be some Barry White music going on in the background. And I just go from flower to flower, you know, mimic a bee, you know, and get them to do their thing. So now I have these 2 plants right here. You can see a lot of them are in bloom, but there's a lot more berries to go. And so I really am enjoying my blackberries a lot. I've learned a lot about them. They're reliable producers. Yes, I got to cover them and protect them once they're done blooming and set. I got to protect them from the birds. But I usually just use the tool material and drape it down and kind of take little small clamps, little spring clips, and just attach them to the pots here, and they hold pretty good. And I get to also attach them to the trellis that I made. And so yeah, blackberries are coming along pretty good. And I gotta watch for those doggone Japanese beetles they attacked them late, so they didn't really harm the flowering. It didn't harm the fruit production. But I got to figure out a way to deal with those Japanese beetles, because they did a number on some of my plants last year, particularly my Egyptian spinach. They really ate that to shreds. And so let me take you over to my new exciting thing this year, my blueberries. Okay, well, I've had these for about 3 years now. And you can see that I put up a frame around these. And what I'm going to do is get either one large bird net or two, bird nets and attach them together, and then attach it to this framing that I made. And because you've got to protect your blueberries from the birds, because they will eat them. And they come out early in the morning, the birds do. They come out 5:30, 6 o'clock, and they're out here eating your stuff while you're in bed snoozing, thinking that you're going to have some blueberries with your morning coffee or whatever it is that you like to have, but they're already out there eating them. So you got to protect your plants. But, I was worried about not having enough pollinators, because when I would come out here, I only saw about maybe 4 or 5 bumblebees on these things. And we've had quite a bit of rain lately and a lot of cloudy conditions and stuff, and it just didn't seem like things were going to be getting a lot of fruit this year. Like I said, this is my first time getting a lot of flowers on these things. I had quite a bit of flowers on my blueberries this year. First time really ever that they produced that many flowers. But then the question was going to be, well, what about pollination? How much we're actually going to set? Because I don't have a whole lot of bees around here. Well, a lot of those dumb carpenter bees, but they're useless for pollinating my stuff. So anyways, what I did was I thought, well, since most blueberry plants are self-fertile, but they will do better if you have another variety to cross-pollinate with. You'll get more yields. Well, I was like, well, if they're self-fertile, like tomatoes and peppers and blackberries and things like that, well, why won't my electric toothbrush trick do the same? Work for these too. So I came out there and I took the toothbrush and I'd vibrate the back of the heads or the whole, stem, and I could see the pollen just pouring all out. So I was hoping that would set some fruit and everything, along with some of the other little pollinators that would come by. I noticed that generally at nighttime there were a lot of little small bugs flying through. When I would shine my light, you could see a lot of little bugs. So hopefully maybe they were doing something during the evening times and overnight hours. Well, I'm happy to report that I got mixed results. It looks like maybe 3 or 4 of the plants are going to be producing quite a bit of blueberries, while 3 or 4 others, or maybe 2 of the others, are maybe a medium amount, small amount, and a couple of them maybe look very pathetic as far as how much fruit got set. They had a lot of flower blossoms on them, but it doesn't look like much set. But I'll give them about another 3 weeks to a month, and then I will know for sure whether they got set or not. Maybe it's just that variety is a small berry and it takes a while for them to really get going, while others, take off. And I moved these plants around because I wanted to, put the ones that I thought they were going to flower about the same time near each other, so that cross-pollination could occur. And so I kept track of which ones were blooming first, and I went on my computer and typed it all up and everything, and keeping on my pH levels that blueberries level low pH, keeping track of those. Well, anyways, sorry about running my mouth so much. Let me show you. I got a few things, and you can just tell right there that those obviously were pollinated. Fruit was set. They are growing. And like I said, I got a few on here that you can see those little small little ones right there. Maybe didn't get set, or maybe some did on here, and maybe they were just, because all these flowers don't bloom exactly at the same time. Maybe 60% of your bush will be flowering a few days, and then maybe another few days later, another 20% will start flowering and opening up completely. And you can still see a few flowers on here that just haven't, done their thing yet. So, some got pollinated, some didn't. But, like I said, I'm just showing you what looks to be some good fruit set. And you can see how some of these down here, like I said, are smaller. Maybe they're just late bloomers. Maybe they're not going to be set at all. I don't know. But you can tell, I mean, just like, sorry, I didn't mean to shake that. You can tell, like, look at that one up close to the camera right there. I mean, you can tell that one got set, while you can look at a few others that are a lot smaller. Maybe they got set, I don't know. Hard for me to tell. And you look at this plant right here, and this one didn't do hardly anything at all. Didn't really produce many flowers, but it did a few. But I mean, look at here. I mean, same plant, hardly anything. You know, maybe a couple of them looks like they may have got pollinated. Maybe it's a little behind the other plants, so they didn't all bloom exactly at the same time. But I had enough where they were they were blooming in the same period. So, you know, it's just some things did their thing, and other things didn't really seem to do much of anything. You hear that bird? And see, I don't know if those got pollinated or not. Can't really tell. They look rather small, but again, maybe these are just small varieties. Don't know. We'll see. Again, looking over here at this plant, I mean, look at this. This is the first year this one's really bloomed anything for me. Look at all of these flower blossoms all over this thing. Just boatloads and boatloads and boatloads. Look at all of that. Crazy. I mean, look at all of those purplish blueberries on here. And most of these, if not all of them, really didn't get pollinated. At least they're not showing me that they did. I mean, they're very puny, very tiny. Now, this is a dwarf variety, Sunshine Blue, I believe. And I would love for these things to really show me that they did something, but I can tell, it looks like a lot of these just did not get pollinated. Look at the size of them. They're very pinhead kind of sizes. And they just don't look like they really did anything. I mean, time will tell. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. Just pulling a couple weeds here. I found. I was really happy to see this thing put on a lot of flowers this year. I was like, all right, because this is the first time for this plant. You know, just dwarf variety. And it just doesn't seem like much of anything said. So I'm really, really disappointed with this plant. I mean, it flowered a lot. Maybe I'll find another partner to go with it that'll bloom at the same time, another dwarf variety, and maybe I'll find another one and just. Cause, I mean, it should have worked. I mean, I had a lot of blooming at the same time as this one does. It just didn't seem to take off. And I mean, we'll see. Like I said, you know, in another 3 weeks to a month, I'll see what these things are doing. You know, did they start to slowly swell up because they're a dwarf variety? They don't get very big. But a lot of these just don't look like they're growing. But I'll see. But on to something a little more positive. You know, here's another one of my bushes and everything, and maybe some. It looks like some of these got pollinated. It's a little hard to tell. So, you know, looking at some of these, you know, is it swelling up? Is it not? It's a little hard for me to know. This is my first, like I said, first real crop. You know, I can tell some of these look like they got it, but others just, you know, maybe a few more weeks. Well, you know, 3 weeks to a month, I'll know for sure whether these. You can see here's an example of some I see. They're still flowering a little bit, you know, maybe 1 or 2%. While most of them have already done their thing. So, look at that, nice bluebirds. And this variety here, and this one over here are both sweethearts, and they've really have done pretty good this year. I'm pretty pleased with these. Most of these have had good fruit set. And again, there's an example of still more flowers on there. But these have produced pretty good for me this year, and so I'm pretty happy with these two varieties. And like I said, good fruit set. I don't know, maybe the bees or whatever just happen to like those a lot more than the others. But anyways, I know I rambled on quite a bit. But I will be doing another video when I get all the rest of the products in that I'm going to be using. And a new product I'm working on this year is the Dr. Earth brand line of products. You can see over there against the wall, against the house, I have a bag of their premium soil. That has so many good things in it. Bat guano, kelp meal, probiotic things in there, and a few other things. And people swear by those, by that product and everything. And I'm using the fertilizers and stuff, so Dr. Earth seems to make a very good product. I just wish we could get this in bulk, you know, instead of, because it's pretty pricey. Oh, I forgot about my apple trees. Yeah, so here's my Honeycrisp apple tree that I bought this year. You know, it's already maybe 3 or 4 years old, so I'm just learning what's going to happen with this one. And here is my Macintosh. Did a little bit of pruning, but we'll see what happens with these apple trees over the growing season, and see if I get some, by the end of the growing season, if I get some fruit buds on them, so I'll know I'll have some, hopefully have some apples next year. Don't expect anything this year, but I expect to learn and see how it grows and what happens over a season. So, all right, from Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, Pittman's Garden Patch, here's my my oasis. And again, hopefully in 2 or 3 years, hopefully to move out further out into the country, where I can have 2, 3, maybe 4 acres. I don't know, depending on price of everything, and then I can, you know, put things into the ground instead of up in raised beds as much, and you know, have some good country soil. You know, do a few more things other than mending, you know, and put in a good irrigation system throughout all my garden and everything, and I could put in, you know, the Boogie Brew compost teas and everything through the lines and all that. So I'm really looking forward to gardening in the future and learning everything I can now too. All right, so from Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, Pittman's Garden Patch, thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry for all the rambling. I guess I just love to talk. And you know, if you have any questions or comments, you know, please comment below and in the section, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. Thank you. Bye.